Ladies and gentlemen, there seems to be a nice shift going on here in the Pittsburgh market. For a good number of years now, the amount of press screenings has diminished considerably to the point where last year there may have been a mere handful, and that was it. But I'm happy to report that beginning this month, there seems to be an increase. More movies are being screened for the press, and that bodes well. I just returned from one of the first press screenings I've had here in Pittsburgh in has to be months, easy. And I got to tell you, it was a really good movie. 90 minutes, perfect length, a very good whodunit, and a lot of big names involved in it. I'll tell you even more. As cinematic class is about to begin, your professor is in. Greetings, salutations, and other sundry affair. I am your cinematic professor and purveyor of truth in movies. And tonight's lesson plan is a film called Black Bag. This one was an awful lot of fun. As I said in the teaser, it came in a perfect length, 90 minutes, and it's all about international espionage. Has a pretty good cast to it, too. I should explain that I'm doing this one kind of on the fly, the screening, and when I'm posting it, there's maybe 2 days in between. So I really didn't have time to shoot up to the studio where I have access to the time machine and go back to talk to Rex Reel about this. So we'll give Rex the night off as I tell you about Black Bag. It is from Steven Soderbergh. He directed the movie. He served as director of photography, so he shot it and he cut it too. He serves as editor, although in the credits you will see the editor listed as Mary Ann Bernard. That was Steven's mom's name, and he gave her the credit, used her nom de plume, as they say, for the. And I don't know why he did that, but he did. Okay, so there you have it. Hey, this is a pretty decent flick. There's a mole. There's a traitor, if you will, among an elite group of spies. Not exactly sure who that spy is, but they're kind of causing havoc. George is probably the best guy to discover who the mole, who the traitor is, and expose them. There is just one little caveat. George's wife is on the list of possible traitors. Can George pull this off? If it is his wife, can he expose her? There lies our conundrum.
Where are you off to?
Black Bag.
Right. You asked how it works. To be with someone in this business, this is how. You each know what you know, and you know what you'll do, and you never discuss certain things again. I watch her, I assume she watches me. I would do anything for you.
Would you?
Yes.
If a situation presents itself, would you choose your marriage over everything else?
My devotion to my marriage is my professional weakness. Love you.
You got a breach. What did you do?
One of our people stole something.
Something extremely valuable.
You cannot imagine the damage. Find the leak.
How long do you think you'll need? Give me 2 weeks.
thousands of innocent people will die.
Okay, 1 week. Who's the suspect?
Your wife.
I can feel when you're watching me.
Sorry.
I like it.
When you can lie about everything, when you can deny everything, how do you tell the truth about anything?
I need a satellite redirect, but this has to be unofficial.
You are one naughty husband, George.
You think this isn't normal? The way you're doing this, just so you know.
What's on the menu?
Fun and games.
Is it true? No one can lie to you?
I don't like liars.
If it is Catherine, do you really think you can do it?
I don't know.
Maybe this is all your greatest game, George.
It's a very dangerous line of work.
I'll say.
Would you kill for me, George? Would you?
Say this film comes to us from Focus Features. There are a couple of scenes in here that I think are rather intriguing, shall we say. There is a dinner scene. Technically, there's two, but let's talk about the big dinner scene. And this one is kind of fun. It is the epitome of the cat and mouse that generally accompanies espionage thrillers. It's kind of unique the way this turns out. And when you leave the dinner scene, you realize something has happened, and certainly something has been revealed, but you don't really find out what it is until the final reels and the plot kind of unveils itself in this movie. The other interesting scene is the rowboat scene. Actually, there's about three rowboat scenes, but I like the symbolism of the rowboat because when they go into the boat to go fishing, it's just George and whatever character he is interrogating uh, to find out who the traitor is, and their isolation on the little lake is kind of cool. The way it's people act differently when you're not in the group, and so those scenes work exceptionally well. So Black Bag follows a pretty standard template. This is Soderbergh's second foray into espionage movies. I think his first one was Haywire, and he's cut his teeth pretty good on the first one. So this one falls into place nice, but he's still following that template. So you know how it plays out. We know there's a traitor. We know we have to find out who the double agent is. And from the get go, they set up one character that is just so obvious that you know it can't be that character, okay? And then they take it from there. So that stuff is kind of cool. This is a nice ensemble cast. A lot of big stars in this. Kate Blanchett is in this. She plays Catherine. I gotta admit, it took me a while to recognize her because she's not her typical blonde in this one. Nice brunette going on. And she looks good as a brunette too. Michael Fassbender is in this. He plays George. That's George and Catherine are a married couple, and George is the guy to find out who the traitor could possibly be. Boy, I tell you what, Fassbender's not a bad looking actor, but they really have him looking like a geek in this one. He really is nerdy. Marissa Abeda is in this. Tom Burke, Pierce Brosnan shows up in this one too. It's kind of an extended cameo, but it's kind of a crucial role. He shows up in this. I got to tell you that Kate and Michael and Pierce are all starting to look a little long in the tooth. I think the makeup department helped them on this a little bit, but even still, they add a bit of gravitas to the entire affair, which turns it up a notch. See, our writer for the script was David Cope, and he has done an awful lot of movies that bear his name. There's Tag, the Jurassic Park. He's done a couple of those. He did Spidey, the Spider-Man movie. He did Alex Baldwin's probably his best movie, The Shadow. Okay, a few years back, and he also did one of Dolph Lundgren's best movies, I Come in Peace. Okay, now that's going back decades, but those were two movies that I really enjoyed, and The Shadow was a Fist of Fury Award winner, and he had penned those, so definitely worthwhile. He also did a little bit of the indie movie, the latest one, Dial of Destiny. Yeah, he also kind of wrote that one, and that I think ended that series on a pretty good note. So kudos to David. So I have to tell you, it was kind of nice going back to a screening. For some reason, they decide to have the Pittsburgh press screenings usually at the waterfront. That's not a very convenient place to go, and a lot of times it's not a place you want to be late at night. But there is an awful lot around that area. So in that instance, it's a good thing you can stop at a number of fine eateries, grab yourself some dinner, and then hop over to see the movie, and that's always an awful lot of fun. So perhaps the atmosphere was just the feng shui was all working in there, and it was good to be back at a press screening, and good to be back to the old routine, what have you. But I really enjoyed sitting through this one. Okay, it was an awful lot of fun. Nice. We had a nice small theater, just a couple of local critics, and it, I like it. I like it a lot. So hopefully there'll be more of these coming down the pike, and we'll start getting some more screeners like we used to before the China virus came along and put kibosh onto all this stuff. I enjoyed this movie, but I'm going to tell you straight up front, like most thrillers, it's good for review. Okay. Now that you know, or once you see it, now that I know uh, who the traitor is, how it played out, what George does to flush the traitor out, uh, you know, you don't need to see it again because maybe 8, 9, 10 years down the road, when you've completely forgotten what the plot was, you might want to revisit it. But it's good for one good solid view on this. Try to guess along with George as to what's going on here and who the traitor could possibly be and how it's all going to unfold. I will say one thing that is very refreshing. This movie, while it displays an awful lot of strange relationships, ultimately, it's a very positive note for marriage. I like that. That's a lot different than the themes that have been inundating movies as of late. So, in that case, it was quite refreshing. We're going to give this an above average grade. It was fun to watch. I think you'll have fun too, especially if you like those movies where you have to figure out who done it and maybe even why. And now that you have learned what you have learned, here endeth your lesson.